for all of you out there in Radio Land, this is the Mayor's Update, and that means that we have the Mayor with us in person, Mayor Buck Clark, and we are going to be talking about some things going on in our city. We want you to know the phone lines are open. You can reach us here at 234-1441. So hello today, Mayor Clark.
Good morning, Lou. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
A lot of things going on in the city. Let's start out with one that is truly, personally, I believe, is positive and will do wonderful things for Waterloo and the surrounding areas. And that is the groundbreaking tomorrow. At what time?
10:30 tomorrow morning.
And it's the Sportsplex. Is that the official name?
Well, the official name, Lou, is the Cedar Valley Sportsplex.
Cedar Valley Sportsplex.
Yeah.
Okay, we want to make sure
Yeah.
that we do that. And that is, what is that in terms
Well,
of funds? $20-some million?
25. There's three prices to that, Lou. The $25 million will build the quote dry building, which is everything but a swimming pool.
Right.
And we have two swimming pools in mind for the project. There's a leisure pool, which is just for you and I to go down and swim and take the kids and swim laps or whatever.
Okay.
And then we also have plans for a potential competitive pool, which would be where the high schools or the junior highs, where competitive swimming would be held. It would be a lane pool.
Oh, okay.
Would be kept separated, would have bleachers, and would be at a different temperature than the leisure pool, et cetera, et cetera. That project is a kind of a distant phase 3. The leisure pool is an immediate phase 2.
Okay.
So we're going to break ground tomorrow on what we're calling the dry building. It doesn't have either one of the pools in it. But the leisure pool is an immediate phase 2 that we will begin. We hope to, when the project opens in 16 to 18 months from now, we hope that it has that leisure pool in it.
Okay.
But for some funding reasons, we didn't include it in the original phase. We're going to go to Vision Iowa and ask for some funding help for the pool project. And in order to do that, we had to keep it out of the phase 1. If it's included in that first phase, then Vision Iowa won't fund it.
Okay.
So that's why, but that's certainly a part of it. But, you know, Lou, thank you for your support, and you've been consistently supportive of that project, and we don't get that from a few people are really opposed to this. But I will give you and your listeners kind of an example. Okay. And I didn't make this up. I'm stealing this from, I don't know, I think it was Rick Young, somebody that just made this comment. But when you think back in our history to relatively recent times, back in the, what was it, in the 70s, when Stan Sheriff and T. Wayne Davis had this idea to put this covered dome in Cedar Falls. You know, people thought they were absolutely nuts.
They really did.
It'll never work. It's going to be a terrible burden to the taxpayers. This is a terrible idea. But it happened. You know, and then about 10, 12 years later, 15 years later, there was an idea to put a performing arts center on the UNI campus. Same thing.
Yeah.
Yes, the community will never support it. It'll never happen. It'll never work. Blah 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 blah.
And all of that has been proven, to be untrue.
And can you imagine this community without the Unidome or without the Gallagher Blue Dome Performing Arts Center?
The Gallagher is a beautiful place and really can hold itself against any others in larger cities. I'm talking about,
oh, sure,
a New York or a Chicago or whatever.
So we, the community, me, are putting this facility in that same category. I am submitting to you and your listeners that this Sportsplex is going to be a catalytic project, a page turner, if you will, that will have a long-lasting, far-reaching, extremely positive effect on this community.
I believe that. I really do. Yeah.
So do I.
We may not, I don't know how many more years that I've got, but I'm glad to see it, and I hope that I do live to see it open up in all of its glory and the things it will bring to Waterloo, and it will bring people.
I'm quite sure you're going to be down there kicking the soccer ball around.
I don't know about that.
But I mean, this thing, and again, I really want to impress on the whole community, but particularly your listeners. This project is absolutely 100% positively being designed and built and will be operated for the entire community.
Exactly.
You know,
Like the Young Arena.
Like the Young Arena.
Yeah.
You know, there's the memberships are priced at a level where they're competitive with any other facility in the whole area.
Okay.
And we have the endowment by the Community Foundation
Okay.
that will help those under-resourced kids to be able to use the facility. And when you're a part of our leisure service program, then you will be a part of this facility.
Right.
So if you have a membership to the facility, you will also be involved with all the other things that our leisure services office has to offer. So we're incredibly excited and being very positive about this, and we, well, you don't do a project like this without assuming some risk.
Right.
But we are quite confident that the risk is very small and that this project is going to operate in the black. We think it's going to be an incredibly positive project for the entire community, and we're looking forward to it.
What will the financial end of this look like? I think I saw in the Q&A in the Courier, someone wanted to know where was the money coming from, who's going to pay for this and all that. Will it demand additional services, for instance, and
It
that
will.
kind of thing? And people are convinced that the money's coming right out of their pockets, So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, I'll break it down into two parts. The land that the facility is being built on is all city-owned land that we have purchased and removed properties from. So the city will have stake in the project initially at the cost of the land, and that's somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 million is what we have invested on city money, and that technically that's mostly bond money. But as we bond, we create a debt service for that, and the citizens do participate in paying back some of that debt service on those bonds that have been issued. But the entire cost of the building of the facility, which is, again, depending on which phase you look at, somewhere from $25 to $30 million, is going to be borne by private individuals, private entities that have donated the money. The city will have no skin in the game as far as the cost to build the facilities. The fundraising efforts right now are at about $19 million, which is what has been committed.
Fantastic.
Towards the project. And fund-going efforts are ongoing and continue to come in.
Why do I identify with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
no kidding. Several of the entities that have donated to this are the largest commitments they've ever made to any project, so there's a lot of community.
And there's a lot of believability
Yeah.
in that, because you're not going to put up that kind of money if
Yeah.
you think it's not going to work.
So anyway, the city put up the land, the private investors, private developers, private entities have committed the money to build it. The day that the facility opens, from day one, the city will be required to operate it.
Okay.
So our leisure services division will operate and will staff and will program the building from the very first day.
Okay.
Although we will not own the building. The WDC, the Waterloo Development Corporation, will own the building. And the WDC will be required to perform any debt service on that building, other than the operations. The city will operate it. We'll pay the salaries, we'll buy the pop that goes in the machines, et cetera, et cetera. But we hope and we believe that those costs will be covered by the operation of the facility. Because we also, while we assume the cost of operations, we also will assume all the revenue from the facility. So we're very hopeful, and you will see long before the facility opens, which will be in the next probably 30 to 60 days, an aggressive marketing campaign to drive membership, because we want to have a couple of bajillion members by the time the thing opens. So yeah, we will be. But the other thing that's important to understand is we just this Monday night approved at the council a lease purchase agreement that at the end of 8 years, the city will be expected to take ownership, complete ownership of the facility. We wrote into that lease purchase agreement several safeguards, I believe, for the city, that if the building is not performing, if it's losing money, we do not have to accept ownership of it. If there's still debt on the building, we do not have to accept ownership on it. If that debt service on that building hasn't been satisfied, the city does not have to accept ownership of it.
And that's 8 years?
8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, there you go, in a nutshell.
Well,
We're excited.
It's gonna be great, and again, it's a community happening, and I hope that the community will turn out, you know, literally turn out to show their support.
I'll say one more thing before I go, because you got me on a roll here. Several people compare what this building is going to be, the sportsplex, to other health facilities that we have in town. They say, we already have that. We already have River Plaza. We already have the Y. Why do we need something else? Mm-hmm. And the real huge difference in this is that this is going to be, I can't remember, 300-some thousand square feet. It's huge. It's enormous. It will have 2 full-size indoor soccer fields in it. And we leak all over the place in the wintertime from soccer clubs that are year-round that go to Cedar Rapids or Des Moines or wherever, and they rent space to play soccer in the wintertime. We don't have a place to do that now.
Right.
This will provide this. This will provide indoor basketball courts, indoor volleyball courts, indoor those electronic computer-driven golf driving things that we can do now, we'll be able to do in Waterloo 12 months a year, that we can't do now. I mean, comparing it to a health club is comparing apples to oranges. They're not even similar.
That leaves really a lot for our children to
Oh my
look
gosh.
forward to. I mean, just imagine that. This generation and other generations that are coming along, it's going to be wonderful for them. And I think the community will support it, and the ones who are not for it, they're not for it. But that doesn't mean that, you know, you should, what they say, one monkey can't stop a show. So we.
I've never heard anybody say that, but I like it.
My mother used to say that.
All right.
Yes. Let's switch to something else that's a biggie, and that is, I don't understand maps and stuff too well, but I'll let you explain why this is important and why you think this will help Waterloo and surrounding areas as well.
Okay.
And this is the 380 project?
Okay. Well, the 380 project, Lou, is I mean, it's technically not anything new. What it is the DOT has decided that it's time to rebuild Highway 380, which is the highway that
read about it, you agree too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's not good.
No, it's in deteriorating shape.
Yeah.
So starting very soon, within the next just few weeks, couple of weeks even maybe, the southbound lanes to 380 are going to be closed. Okay. And if you're going from Waterloo to Cedar Rapids or Dubuque and you want to go east on Highway 380, it's going to be a pain, because that whole south corridor is going to be torn up, and you will be directed to go on what are, you know, technically the northbound, I call them the westbound lanes, because you're driving west. That'll be kind of rerouted into the westbound lane, and it'll be 2-lane traffic through there. Okay. So it's going to be kind of a headache, and it's going to be a long project, and it's going to be a mess. And what you have there, and one of the things that we've worked very hard with the DOT and the county and the state and all kinds of things, is emergency access to that area when it's all torn up, as to how to get an ambulance in there if we need it, how to get a wrecker in there if we need to, how do we get out of there with a person that might be hurt in an ambulance and so forth, and get them to the hospital. And there's been a lot of coordination to do the best we can. Nothing is going to be good, but it's all been planned, and it's the most important thing for folks to know is that once that thing closes, and again, I think it's going to be closed in the next couple of weeks.
I think so too.
Going out of Waterloo, Cedar Falls, east on 380 is going to be a little bit of a headache for a few months.
There is an advance warning even, and by the way, let me tell people now that on Thursday, I will be interviewing field services coordinator for this whole thing that we're talking about, Iowa Department of Transportation, And he's going to be a guest here, so if you have some questions that you want to